The Knicks continue to protect home court. The Knicks win again and are now 11-1 at home. The emergence of Ariel Hukporti, his activity, his defense, his block shots, it has been amazing to watch. It's absolutely clear. Ariel Hukporti wants that backup center position, but it's not all good news. The Knicks continue to face a major obstacle during games. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. This episode is presented by FanDuel. We have a goal of trying to reach 40,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content, please hit that subscribe button. And now, let's get started. Hukporti wants the Knicks' backup center role. It always feels good after a Knicks win, but winning at home, being dominant at home, that just feels different. In the best possible way, the Knicks win again. As you can see here, the Knicks beat down the Hornets and win this game 119-104. And shout out to channel sponsor FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, for giving us this updated information on who was supposed to win the game last night between the Knicks and the Hornets. And as you can see there, by the money line, the New York Knicks were the overwhelming favorites headed into this matchup. FanDuel had them at -375 and had the Hornets at +300. And once again, shout out to FanDuel. They call it right. The Knicks absolutely win this game, and they nearly do it in blowout fashion. Now, there were many reasons why the Knicks won this game, but in my opinion, the main reason why was because our all-stars bounced back and they came to play. Jalen Brunson, who you knew after having one of his worst performances of the season, he was going to bounce back in a meaningful way. And last night against the Hornets, he absolutely did that. Jalen Brunson last night, as the Knicks beat down the Hornets, 26 points, 9 of 16 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 3 steals. The captain had it going on every end of the floor, and you love to see it. You knew after he struggled against the Celtics, he was going to come back. He dropped 26 points extremely efficiently. This is the Jalen Brunson that we all know and love. And with Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, look at that stat line. He absolutely abused the Hornets. 35 points, 13 of 23 from the field, extremely efficient, 3 of 7 from 3, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 18 rebounds, 5 of those rebounds being offensive rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and he was a +21 for the game. Karl-Anthony Towns, when he's playing the way he was playing last night, moving the ball, trying to find cutters inside the paint, which, by the way, Mikal Bridges, great pass inside to him. Josh Hart, great pass inside to him. Last night, Karl-Anthony Towns was in his bag. But here's the thing. He did it against the Hornets. And Karl-Anthony Towns, against the bad teams, we know he can show up. We know he can do this. We know he can dominate. What we all want to see. The missing piece is him doing this consistently each and every night against the bad teams and against the good teams and against other teams that play him against smaller defenders. He needs to attack those matchups, take that advantage. Sometimes against very good smaller defenders, he doesn't do that. He passes out of that matchup and gives the ball to somebody else on the floor. And oftentimes when he does that, there's a mismatch inside, and the opposing team, they're always taking advantage of that mismatch. Karl-Anthony Towns needs to have these type of performances against the good teams and against the bad teams. But I have to give him credit. Last night, He came to play and he showed out. You can only hope this continues throughout the season against every team. And we cannot forget about Deuce. Look at the impact he's had as a starter and against Charlotte last night. 15 points, 4 of 9 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, and he was a plus 18 on the night. Deuce McBride, every time he throws up a three-point shot, I think that ball is going in. I don't know about you guys, but he's become automatic. In my head, if Deuce is throwing up that three ball and the entire arena, by the way, no matter if we're on the road or at MSG, is screaming, Deuce, I am thinking that ball is absolutely going in. And more times than not, the ball is going in. But last night, I got to praise Deuce on something else. Not his offense, his defense. That first quarter, and I will break down the quarters in a second, but I want to talk about this first quarter specifically. The Knicks were able to hold the Hornets to 12 points in that first quarter. Now, a lot of that was credited to the Hornets because they were playing so badly. So many unforced turnovers, bad defensive plays. They looked like they didn't even want to be on the court. Like they didn't even want to play against the Knicks in that first quarter. And New York, they took full advantage of that. But a lot of that was also caused by Deuce McBride and his hounding defense. His defense has always been good, but something about this season, I don't know. It looks like his defense has gotten even better, and his offense clearly has gotten even better. We are seeing the best version right now of Deuce McBride. Another player that helped impact the game and led to the Knicks winning the game against the Hornets, and you might not even know it if you check the box score. And that player is Ariel Hukporti, who, by the way, if you were watching the game last night, sent the message to Mike Brown and this entire Knicks organization. Do not look for a backup big. You want to know why? Because Hukporti is your backup center. He was playing last night like he wanted to take that backup center position. And I think a lot of people, including Mike Brown, took notice of it. First, let's take a look at exactly what Ariel Hukporti did against the Charlotte Hornets last night. Ariel Hukporti, as the Knicks beat the Hornets last night. By the way, Hukporti won Defensive Player of the Game for New York. He played 13 minutes. He had no points, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks, and he was a +6. And I put this down below. Impact is more than just the box score. You want to know how I know that? Because Mike Brown, the head coach of this team, absolutely agrees with me. Ariel Hukporti gave you that stat line, and at the end of the game, he won Defensive Player of the Game. And here's why. Shout out to Mike Brown for giving us this following information. And of course, credit to one of the best accounts on the app X, New York Basketball, for breaking down this information for us. According to them, I don't know if I've ever done this before, but our Defensive Player of the Game was Ariel Hukporti. He had 0 defensive rebounds. He fouled out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Ariel Hukporti, in 13 minutes of play, fouled out of this game with 6 fouls. I did not include that in the stat line because I knew Mike Brown included it in his statement. But let's continue here. As mentioned, Hukporti did foul out. However, according to Mike Brown, his impact was huge. A couple of blocks, 50-50 balls, went vertical a couple of times, changed shots inside, hadn't played much, and still was able to do all of this. Give this type of impact. Ladies and gentlemen, Hukporti only played 13 minutes. And in 13 minutes, he had an amazing impact on the floor, especially defensively, especially on the boards. And if you watched him last night and you watched the way he moved, you watched the way he was defending inside, how other players, as they were driving inside and they see Hukporti, They see that big physical body. They change direction. They change what they're going to do. They alter their shots. The last time I saw a player do that was against Mitchell Robinson. Now we're seeing players do it against Hukporti. I'm not saying Hukporti was perfect. Clearly he wasn't. He fouled 6 times in 13 minutes. And also, please, Hukporti, work on your screens. The amount of offensive fouls that we saw happen because of improper screens, you gotta do better. And I believe in the future, Hukporti will do better. But like Mike Brown said, those block shots, those offensive rebounds, putting that fear in penetrators so they have to change their shots. Some of that will never show up on the stat sheet. But if you're watching the game, you can see it. You can see the activity level, you can see the defense, but you can also see the improvement from game to game. Even if it's minor, Hukporti is starting to get better. He is starting to earn minutes. Right now, the only reason he played was because we were on a back-to-back and Mitchell Robinson was not available. However, we still had Gerson Yabusele. Mike Brown could have played him, but he didn't. He elected to go with Hukporti. And that, in my opinion, was a game-changing decision. A decision that helped New York win the game. And hopefully, this gets Hukporti one step closer to stealing that backup center position. But like I said to start the show, it's not all good news. New York, for the last few games, I want to say going back all the way to the Raptors game, have faced a significant obstacle each and every game since then. And it's maintaining a lead. These second quarters of doom continue to appear. And last night was no different at all. The New York Knicks, as I said earlier in the show, were dominant in that first quarter. Even though they were not hitting their threes, they found other ways to score and other ways to be dominant. And their defense, it was so good. They held the Hornets to 12 points. They were up by as many as 20 points in that second quarter. And then what happened? Second quarter of doom activated. New York allows the Hornets to drive inside, penetrate, kick it out to an open three-point shooter, splash. They're hitting those shots. Or New York is giving the Hornets free layups inside with no resistance. Or they're fouling them, getting them to the line, and now it's an and one opportunity. New York was doing that throughout the entire quarter. It's like they forgot how to play defense in that second quarter. And this just represents the exact same obstacle they continue to face. They have great, amazing, legendarily good first quarters. And then in the second quarters, they are having car wrecks. They are not scoring. They are not defending. They are allowing the opposing team to get back into the game. And in that second quarter, New York saw their 20-point lead drop all the way to 3. And if not for a Jalen Brunson buzzer beater to close the half, New York would have only been up 3. Thankfully, Jalen Brunson nails that 3, and New York is up 6 going into halftime. And then to start the third quarter, New York still continues to forget how to play defense. But here's what happens. Because something key happened in that third quarter that changed the entire dynamic of this game. 2 bad defensive plays to start out that third quarter. Timeout by Mike Brown and this Knicks team. Mike Brown, in that timeout, clearly tells the Knicks something. Because after that timeout, Mikal Bridges hits a 3. And that 3 leads to New York building up an 18-point lead in that third quarter. And their defense in the process looks amazing once again. And that changed the entire nature of the game. Even though the Hornets tried to get back into the game and they cut the 18-point lead that the Knicks had built up to 11, it really didn't matter at that point. New York was so locked in, they were able to battle back and add on to that lead. All I want to say about the fourth quarter is that New York, they were handling the fourth quarter extremely well. But then, as they were up big, they just allowed LaMelo Ball to really do whatever he wanted, have open looks, open shots, drive inside and get other players involved. And that's why late in that game, the Hornets were able to cut the Knicks lead to 8. But that's as close as they were going to get. New York, they battled back after that. They closed out the game, and now we're talking about a Knicks victory. But we have to go back to that second quarter. We have to go back to that big obstacle. They have faced that obstacle for the last few games, and this is not a trend that you want to set. You really want to be known as a team that has great first quarters, atrocious second quarters, and they try to play catch up for the rest of the game? I'm sorry. That's not the team I want to be known as. That's not the identity I want the Knicks to have in the league. But they're showing everybody, every team, that don't worry, if New York kills you in the first quarter, you can get them back in the second quarter because they stopped playing defense. They look like a different team. It is unacceptable. Of course, when you're up big, other teams are going to try to fight back. They're going to try to get back into the game. That's expected. What's not expected is that you build up a 20-point lead and you allow it to drop all the way to 3 or to 4 points. Why haven't you adjusted yet? Why haven't you done anything within that time frame to stop the bleeding and then add back to your lead? Having leads drop that far down after having such a great performance in the first quarter, it doesn't make sense. I just don't understand it. Somebody make it make sense because it still doesn't make sense to me. New York needs to clean this up and they need to do it fast. Championship level teams do not play this way. They do not operate in this way. They play consistently or as consistent as possible for 48 minutes. Mike Brown, New York, please fix this issue. Stop making teams destroy you in the second quarter and then you have to play catch up in the third or make it an even more competitive game than it needs to be. For 48 minutes, they do not have a drop off, not to this level, not consistently in the second quarter. We realize this is happening consistently in the same quarter. That is not normal. The Knicks need to clean this up, and they need to fix this issue and address it fast. During film session, if I'm Mike Brown, I am replaying the second quarter for the last few games on repeat. So New York understands they can never allow this to happen again. I am very happy that the Knicks got the W, but we have to also be honest with ourselves. If this wasn't the Hornets, and this was a different team, would this game be a win for New York? I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because against a very good team, maybe a top team in this league, if you have a second quarter like that, are you winning? I'm not sure about that. New York, they have work to do, and they better get started as soon as possible. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks winning this game against the Hornets 119-104? Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.